Yeah.
There we go. Love the
awesome
sounds.
music.
8:15 on a Monday morning. This is Cancel This. We're live in the mornings till 10
that's
Central.
right.
Monday through Friday. Glad you're joining us on a Monday. December 19th. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah, which is in effect now for our friends celebrating Hanukkah. Christmas on the way as well. And we are here. CancelTheShow.com. Check out our content at CancelTheShow.com. Glad you're joining. I was out and about all weekend long, and all I'm hearing about is this show, guys. Glad the people are listening, they're watching. As always, share the show whenever you can. We welcome you back in this morning. Scotty Gherkin on the boards.
Yeah.
Why are you laughing, dude?
Because this has been horrible this morning.
It's all right. It's all good. If Windows updates, anything comes with computers. And we are an evolving show starting our fourth week. The first 3 weeks have been absolutely amazing considering the technical capabilities that we are pushing out. We are here. We are rocking and rolling. We got another big show this morning. We're glad that you're here. Tabitha Hassel also here. Eric Johnson. I'm Vic Faust. Cancel the show. Once again, cancel this. News, politics, society, headlines, commentary, cancel culture, education at its finest.
Yeah.
We've got it ready. Hope everybody had a terrific weekend. On top of that, okay, I had to start with this really quick, guys. And I just want to remind everybody, we're on one shots today. So you see Tabitha, Eric, myself.
Yeah, that's right.
Because when things happen, you adjust, you adapt, and you overcome. So you'll see us on individual shots, not necessarily the wide shot. Tabitha reminds me of my my grandmother, God bless her soul. She would see a storm coming like 2 months away. Oh boy, it's gonna be big.
Yeah.
You got to get ready for the storm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, apparently we got a big blizzard coming this week, this Wednesday. Is that right, Tabitha? Is that what you were talking about?
I have been talking about it because, you know, you read all of these different reports from several different meteorologists. They're all different, but one thing they all agree on is that we're going to have dangerously low temperatures. Snow amounts, nobody wants to make that big prediction yet. People are saying anywhere from Dave Murray saying a light dusting to some other folks saying 6, 12, 16 inches of snow. But you know what we do know, what's consistent amongst them all, is that wind chills are going to be 30 below.
That sucks.
Isn't that called
30
winter?
below.
I was just...
No,
It's called
that
winter.
is not winter.
I was about
It's
to
called
say,
winter.
come on, man.
That's the type of weather
Well-
that people die. Your pipes freeze.
Your pipes freeze.
People
That sounds
actually
painful.
people die in this type of weather.
Yeah, you can.
It's very serious.
It's serious. If you don't have a warm home.
Correct.
Homeless, absolutely.
And it's also cold enough to where wiring can freeze. Your electrical
Yes.
lines can freeze. Power can go out. There's a lot of things that can happen when you have a very windy storm coming through. They call it some type of clipper. And when these clipper storms
The
come
Alberta
through,
Clipper.
yeah,
It's the Alberta Clipper.
Yeah.
and they say the wind is going to be blizzard type. That doesn't mean it's going to be snowing in a blizzard.
Okay.
Blizzard type wind conditions, high gusting wind, lots of really cold temperatures, well below freezing. It can cause all kinds of problems. It can cause problems with your vehicle. It can cause problems with all of the systems of your home.
It does seem
I
like
just want
we've-
people to take it seriously.
It seems like we've never had this problem before. It is called winter. It
We've
is
had a
li-
very-
and we're not even in winter yet. We're not even in winter yet. Think about that. That's a fall storm. Into fall storm, but it's still a fall storm. I was just in Cedar Rapids this weekend where the weather has made it there. It was a blustery like 4 degrees one
That's
night,
cold.
and it was windy. It was like blowing trucks literally off the road. So it happens every year, and it looks like we will get a dusting to 5 inches, is what they're saying. We are in St. Louis, Missouri, by the way. If you're in Florida, you suck.
Yeah, it is pretty. So we bring up the weather. Yeah, I mean, you could have some cold temperatures in the Midwest. Pretty much the cold is hitting, even in Florida. It's cold, Eric, and it will be really cold. Once again, it's winter. Tabitha talking about some of the worst things that can happen. But if, and I repeat, if we got snow or reports of lots of snow, we might reschedule our kickoff party, which is scheduled for this Thursday night, December 22nd, 7 p.m. at Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley. I also had a couple people come up to me over the weekend and say, hey, we're going to be at the party. I was like, oh, you know about the show? Well, yeah, we know about the show. We're following you guys. So that was good to hear. At least people are knowing. So you're going to want to RSVP to the Facebook post that we have put out. Please do that. You can go to It's on Facebook. Cancel this under events so that you're getting updates as we decide to update or not update when it comes to whether we've got the show going on or not.
Gotta do it right. Gotta do it right.
Yeah. Cindy from the comment line, 2 to 24 inches.
Yeah.
I know there's every model shows such a wide range.
Which is why you can't freak out until we know exactly what's going to happen.
When it comes to snow, no. When it comes to cold temperatures, just be prepared. Because when it's that cold, when you have wind chills 30 below zero, that's really hard on elderly people. It's hard on people who have breathing conditions or heart problems. If it truly gets that cold, just don't be outside.
Yeah.
Let your faucets drip.
I'm scared. You scare me, Tabitha. I swear.
I'm not
I mean,
trying to
no, I
scare
am literally
anyone.
petrified.
You know what? My concern is when we have this type of weather, it's not me or you or any of us in this room.
Mm-hmm.
It's the folks like my 89-year-old stepfather, who if he tries to go outside, that's very dangerous.
My
for
mom
him.
used to give me a dissertation every time it snowed when I was going to the bus stop of how I could freeze my fingers off. They never froze off. If you have your face exposed too long, it will turn black and it will fall off. Eric, it never did. Yeah,
So
it's gonna be cold.
Yeah, just more. And I spent 11 winters in Detroit, and I learned in Detroit there's no such thing as horribly cold weather. There are bad clothing decisions that are made. Just cover yourself up. I mean, seriously, dress warm. If you go outside, just take care of yourself wherever you're listening in the country.
And
if you have to be outside, just dress for it. Simple enough.
So
Stay outside as little as possible.
does this expedite you going and shopping? Are you guys done shopping for Christmas yet?
I'm not finished yet.
You're not finished. So what you might have done on Thursday night, are you thinking about doing on Tuesday
Well,
night?
I wouldn't be out on Thursday, and I don't push things that far. I will finish everything I need to do today.
Every year it's a tradition for me. It's the procrastinator's Christmas. And I try to figure out what exactly is the latest that I can get away with. Can I push it up to 6:05 on Christmas Eve anywhere, where every place is closing?
You might not have to worry about it because it might be so cold and snowy that no one even gets together for Christmas. And then you can put it off another couple days.
You are just a Grinch.
No, Tabitha.
I'm not a Grinch.
No, Tabitha is
the Grinch.
Tabitha's the fatal. No, Tabitha. No, we need Tabitha because she brings the fatalistic view on everything every day.
That's not true.
We need somebody to set the fatalistic bar.
It's not, you know what?
And then
It's a
fall
white
in on
Christmas,
our
for God's
It's
sake.
not fatalistic. Do you know, in this
You're
hurts
a
my
mean
heart
one.
to say, last year, a man in St. Louis City froze to death
Yeah, it happens.
inside of a porta potty. People die when it's this cold. It's no joke.
Yeah, we said
it's not
this.
fatalistic. It is dangerously cold weather.
No, it is. If you're outside
If
in
you're
it.
outside in it, correct.
If you have
Stay in your
a
house.
home with heat.
Well, yeah, but
it's
on
not.
Christmas, people are getting out. Elderly people are getting out to go
Correct.
visit family, and that's
Okay.
that's my worry.
All right.
If you're
Stay home for
elderly,
Christmas
if you have
this year,
health
guys.
issues,
I thought we already addressed
don't get
this.
out.
I thought we already addressed
Santa
cold
just
issues.
called and he canceled Christmas. Stay
Hey,
home.
big world story yesterday. World Cup. Waiting to see what ratings are. Massively popular. I went 4 places yesterday.
Yeah.
People don't even know about soccer or watch it. We're watching. It was one of the most incredible games ever in World Cup history.
Are you talking about the Patriots game?
No.
Oh,
that
sorry.
was a crazy play too. I know you're not a soccer fan, but you want to talk about the most popular world event.
Yeah.
Wow. One of the most incredible. I mean, my friend Doug Kazarian, who works for ESPN, Daily Wager, he's the host, my former intern. He was posting video shots at Vegas.
Yeah.
And he used to work as a sports anchor in Vegas and had never seen anything like this before. People were away from the gambling tables, all watching the World Cup.
Oh, sure.
They weren't
Yeah.
even at the tables.
Yeah. That's okay.
It was awesome.
Yeah. It's the number one sport on the planet.
Yeah, congrats to Argentina. They took care of business. Messi, the best soccer player in the world.
Yeah.
And even for people who aren't sports fans or could care less about the World Cup, it was an amazing story.
Now, he's supposed to play at Miami next year.
We'll see.
No, he's supposed to play is he playing in the same league that St. Louis is in?
Yes.
So he might come to St. Louis and play some
It's
soccer.
possible, yes.
Okay.
The
That might
MLS.
make it a little more interesting.
I didn't know that Messi was playing with Miami.
Yeah, that's Beckham's team, correct? Right?
He was associated with that team,
Yeah. So I think they're good. I think that the scuttlebutt is he's going to be playing in Miami at 39. Isn't he like 30? He's like an old guy, right?
We have people saying they were watching their phones during church. It was absolutely insane, incredible. Congratulations, Argentina. France played extremely well, too. So World Cup, we'll see what the ratings ended up being from a worldwide standpoint. Elon Musk was at the game. He was drawing a lot of attention as well. He was with Jared Kushner at the game.
Oh, gosh.
President
What
Trump's
a strange
son-in-law.
mix that is.
Exactly. Tabitha, I set the ball right on that tee for you. What the hell is going on? Some of the comments that I was seeing was, oh, now we know what his political leanings are, if we didn't know already.
Yes and no. Do you know a lot of Trump supporters do not like Jared?
Why is
They
that?
don't trust him. They don't like him. I don't know. I don't personally have an issue with him, but I can't tell you how many people I know who are diehard Trump supporters that do not like Jared.
Well, him and Jared hanging out this weekend are not the top Elon Musk stories.
They're
that's
not.
for sure.
But
Is
it
he still on Twitter?
coincides. It coincides with him because
And we were leading to that. It
Yeah.
sets it up.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
You know, rich people go to soccer games and football games with other rich people. That's the way it
Exactly.
works. So you
They
don't-
drink, they have parties, they go on
Yeah.
vacations.
Yeah, Ellen DeGeneres goes to events with George W. Bush. Who
But you might
cares?
be missing one little piece, Eric.
Yeah.
Dun, dun,
There
dun.
happened to be a tweet this weekend where Elon Musk said, "Hey, I'm going to put a poll out there on Twitter, and I'm going to."
That's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
I'm going to ask how many people
This is the story.
want me to recuse myself as CEO
Okay.
of Twitter. Then somebody else followed up, and they said, "Hey, I bet Trump could be the next CEO of Twitter." And Musk replied back, "Hey, be careful what you wish for."
Yeah, he knows how to stoke the fire.
Yes, he does. And that's all
he's
it
just
is.
like Trump.
That's all it is.
And with the polling that Eric and Tabitha have spoken about, I believe it was 170 million people responded on Twitter,
Wow. Wow.
and an overwhelming majority want him to leave as CEO.
Okay.
Well, that's because they're all liberal progressives on Twitter.
And you might be right.
we
Well,
haven't taken over yet.
But he put it out there, and he's not. This man is not ignorant. He is highly intelligent. He did this on purpose. I think he wants to leave the position as CEO.
Oh, I don't think so.
Or do you just think he's toying with people?
I think he's just messing with people.
He's not.
Well,
he's not. I think Vic's
he
right.
wants out, and the overwhelming majority of people said, "Yeah, you should leave as CEO." So what does he do? He keeps everybody tuned in, on the edge of their seats if they care,
Yeah.
and we'll see what happens next.
Because Twitter is the kind of company that you can buy and monkey around with. I'm sorry, you can't do that with SpaceX. You can't do that with Tesla. Anything that has a serious product behind it. You could not do that with PayPal. Twitter is a overglorified blog.
A $44 billion.
Yeah, fine, whatever.
blog.
I'm just saying it's a joke. It really is a joke. But here's the deal: if he leaves as CEO, he could bring someone worse than him in there and say we're going to destroy this thing only to build it back up.
It's already being destroyed. One other claim he made this weekend, another tweet he made, Elon Musk, that is, he said that Twitter's going bankrupt. In the amount of
He
time
did
from
say
the
that.
time he purchased it, it's going bankrupt.
It was
because-
going bankrupt before, but all the funny money that was funding.
Well,
that
their liberal sponsors are
Yeah.
withdrawing because they don't like the turn of truth. We're
Yeah.
telling the truth now
Yeah.
on Twitter. And I, for the first time, can go on Twitter and actually make posts, make tweets that are truth. And I'm not being banned and deleted. They don't like that.
The fact of the matter is, Twitter's not a big ad heavy platform from what I understand about it. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Man, you put advertising in there like an ad network where a company could go in and buy ads, clicks for eyeballs like they used to do in the old days with Facebook. Facebook's got it right. Twitter has it wrong. And all of a sudden you make this thing a platform that is literally making money hand over fist. Look at Facebook. Facebook is a great example of that. They are very ad heavy. Make Twitter ad heavy. Use the platform.
Well, he's trying, but all of these liberal
No.
sponsors are withdrawing.
Right.
And now Tesla, one of the big board members from Tesla has asked Musk to potentially step down.
Yeah.
He said he's spending too much time on Twitter.
He's killed Tesla stock. Ask people who buy Tesla stock; they'll tell you they're pissed at Elon. If you own it because of what he's been doing,
But it was
playing games with Twitter.
always overpriced. Tesla stock was always overpriced.
But even
overinflated.
But even so, the whole image, and we all know what stocks are about.
Sure.
It's about expectant, what's going to happen. And if you see the CEO, well, I'm not that interested in Tesla anymore. I like this Twitter game. Obviously, expectations are not going to be where they should be.
But
People start to worry.
True, but he claims that's not true. Elon also tweeted out that this isn't true.
Do you believe
That
everything he
What's
says?
not true?
I don't know if I believe everything he says, but I think I do. He seems like he fights for the truth and speaks the truth, but I don't know him personally. But he tweeted out that to the board member, and he said, I just got out of a Tesla meeting. I'm still participating. I'm still here. I'm still doing my job.
Yeah.
And I don't think anything Elon is doing is the reason why Tesla stock went down. I think it was always overinflated.
Could be.
Always overinflated, and all stocks are down right now.
Well, the thing about that position is that perception in business, perception is everything. Perception is reality. So if there's a perception,
Exactly.
if there's a perception that Elon's not around, even though he's there 24 hours a day, it doesn't matter.
Same thing with gas and oil.
Exactly right. It's you're hedging your bets on what you think a company is going to do. I do think Twitter needs to be run by a militant person with a vision, someone that knows how to make money, someone who is not polarizing like an Elon. Elon
knows how to make money. He's the second wealthiest person in the entire
well,
world.
okay, but like you just said before, you have Apple pulling its advertising. You have McDonald's pulling its whoever.
Let them go. Let them go.
I
You know
agree
what?
with you.
Here's the thing, Eric. You know what this comes down to?
Don't be mad about it. Don't be mad when you say that, though.
I'm not mad.
And don't be mad at the companies pulling the wokesters that are pulling
None
their
of that
advertising.
matters. None of that matters, because I'll tell you what. If everyone right now who stands for truth joins Twitter, the numbers that's all that matters, because those sponsors, I don't care how liberal progressive they are, if the numbers are there, they will come back.
Okay, let me ask you this, Tabitha. Where are those people going to join Twitter? Where are they coming from? Because we already have so many platforms. People get used to, they get
I
comfortable
agree.
to where they want to watch. We've told people on the show, hey, check us out at YouTube. Click the bell button so that you're subscribed, and people still go back to what they know.
To Facebook.
That's my point. If you think, who's all of a sudden going to join Twitter? Like in the hundreds of thousands of people or in the millions.
How many people joined Parler? How many people joined?
What's Parler?
Truth Social. Well, that's only because the Amazon services
What's
and Google
Truth Social?
took them down.
Are
Truth
those-
Social is very popular.
Are they still around? I was
very
teasing.
popular.
I was being sarcastic.
Oh, I know, but very
because
popular.
those platforms have not become, and
They have not.
And they have not become what everybody said that they would become. They haven't.
Facebook is tough to beat.
So this is my point. I'm not trying to throw water in your
No,
fire.
you're right. You're right.
I just want to know. Tell me, teach me. Where's everybody going to come to join Twitter? I don't think they are.
You know
I
what?
just don't think they're
that's
going
up to us, isn't it? Eric, are you on Twitter?
No.
Scotty, are you on Twitter?
Vaguely.
Vic, are you on Twitter?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter
well,
because I've always been on Twitter.
I've always been on Twitter as well. I haven't actively used it until recently, but I've always been there.
I don't see any way in hell Twitter ever becomes a conservative platform.
I think it's possible. I really think that I think it's
Anything's
possible.
and I could win the lottery. It is
I know.
possible.
I think it's possible, but I do think that Facebook is not our home. They don't like us there. They ban us for misinformation. They don't like us. But yet we're all still there. Why don't we leave Facebook and go somewhere that appreciates us?
Because where are you going to put your little kitten pictures?
On Twitter.
On Twitter?
On
so you
Truth
think
Social?
that this
On
is getting
Clout Hub?
so this is getting ridiculous, to be honest with you. A few years back you would look at these platforms and say, "Oh, this looks so fun. Look at TikTok. This is fun. Look at how fun Instagram is. This is so much fun." Now you got to literally make a politically conscious decision. First of all, you have 300 and some odd million people in the United States who are not interested in making political decisions on where they put their kitty pictures. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. Number two, Twitter is it's a rag for journalists, and journalists are liberals.
Exactly.
That's why you have 57% trying to get
But
rid of
they're all
mutts.
leaving, so that leaves a lot of room for us to join.
Are they leaving? You had these guys banned from Twitter
A lot of them
who
are
were
leaving.
begging to come back on Twitter. So no, they're not leaving.
You're talking about the journalists.
The journalists. So you have to analyze this whole thing. Twitter is not going to go away willingly, okay? Twitter, I think that Elon leaving Twitter would be a fantastic thing as long as he appoints a CEO that is as militant as he is and says, we're going to make some money.
Well, he's at least a private company now. It's not a public company. There's no board. That makes all the difference. Jack Dorsey, when he ran Twitter, he had very little say. The
What's a
board
more
made all the
important company?
decisions.
What's a more important company? Tesla, which is competing to be the Apple of electric cars. It is, because whenever a Tesla product used to come out, it was as big as the iPhone coming out.
And now they have the new Tesla phone, which is
You
phenomenal.
can have
looking.
Mercedes coming out with their new EV, but no one cares.
Now they have
They're still
Starlink.
concerned about the Tesla thing. You got to protect that. Now you have the Starlink thing. That's very interesting. You have this SpaceX. That's exceptionally interesting.
Neuralink.
Yeah, I mean, the profits putting a satellite into orbit are insane.
I think we've answered the question that you haven't asked, but you were getting ready
Go
to
ahead,
ask.
you ask it then.
Was the question, Which is more important, Tesla or Twitter?
Correct.
Yeah.
And you know what? If Elon finds nuclear fusion and he's able to crack that nut,
Yeah. From the
I think
comment
I
line,
think
too.
he'll let it go.
you know,
Yeah. You never hurt your main
Yeah.
source of.
Yeah.
You start with the moneymaker and you go from there. I see your point, Tab, but that
But
would be
is
great.
Tesla really the moneymaker that they say it is? Because there's a lot of people
Oh,
out
hell
there
yeah, it is.
who say it's overinflated.
Well, first of all,
that it should have the stock was trumped up, and it should have never been that high. And the company really doesn't make the money that they claim to make.
Yeah. You know what? When you have more money than God, it doesn't matter that much. He's toying. Look, Twitter is like a cat toy. It's like catnip. He's just over there messing around with it.
He tried to back out.
he's just-
Remember?
He's just batting it around his
is.
floor.
What a great analogy. He's just batting it around.
He is. It's the truth. It's $40 million down the drain. $1 billion down the drain.
just a
He
tax
don't
break.
care. Trust me. He is looking at this as like, this is my opportunity to go really mess around with CNN journalists. That's all it is.
And that wasn't the only story that from Friday. I think Tabitha brought it up then. We vaguely talked about it or just lightly got into it. But the fact with Twitter and the FBI is the FBI now there is evidence. This isn't just some conspiracy theory. The FBI, the freaking FBI was red flagging your tweets on Twitter.
Wow, that's
Yep.
spooky.
The FBI involved with Twitter. This was
State
before
ran
Elon.
media.
Unfreaking believable. If you don't think that the messaging you're getting from a national standpoint and in sometimes a local standpoint isn't being vetted over and over and over again, or people are being told what they can't say. I was asked this question over the weekend. Hey, I bet you're happy. I'm sure people told you what you had to say. I was like, nobody ever told me what I had to say.
Yeah.
In news in 24 years, what I was told is what you can't say. And that gets into the quote, is it lying by omission? Is it not giving the full story?
Right.
And then now we see on Twitter tweets being read. What the hell and why was the FBI involved in this? Even the most ardent liberal, the most ardent, oh, well, it's all right to do this with the FBI, has to stop and say, okay, something nefarious was going on.
Yeah.
If the FBI is involved in this whole situation.
Because they were colluding. The FBI and the intelligence community had carte blanche that said, come on in. We have office space for you. If you're the intelligence agency of any country, you think you're not going to take that opportunity to go see what's going on behind the scenes of all of these social media accounts? Come on, man. That is the truth of the matter. Do you guys remember when the Patriot Act, they were talking about the Patriot Act after 9/11?
Yes.
Remember that? George W. Bush, we're making this thing called the Patriot Act where we are going to surveil and metadata spy on our enemies, the people who are terrorists around the world. And everybody's like, man, that's kind of a slippery slope. Remember
Once you
remember
go
that?
down.
I was always kind of nervous about that. I was like, man, these guys are behind the scenes looking at our metadata, our data, our footprint that we have. And okay, and then they're promising that they're not going to turn that weapon on us. Everybody's like, okay, I guess this is a product of that. This is the product of our government taking the opportunity to see what Tabitha Hassel, let's just see what she has to say. Let's see what's in maybe her private messages to her friends.
It's like communist
And
China.
not telling you that they're doing it. Do you think that they're not going to take that opportunity?
They can legally do that. And, at some point we're going to have Charles Strange on as a guest. And he actually changed the law because his son was part of SEAL Team 6 and he was killed over Afghanistan. Yeah. And in the Obama administration spied on him. Yeah. They were looking at him through his laptop, watching him. They were taking photos of his wife on her laptop. And the government back then wasn't allowed to do that. Because Charles Strange sued the government, Obama made it a law that the government can spy on you. They can watch you through your television. They can watch you through your cell phone. They can watch you through your laptop. And there's not a darn thing you can do about it. Freedom in this country is an illusion. Yeah. It's not real.
And this whole January 6th committee is another example of that.
We were going to get into that too.
Yes.
It's another example of that. It's
seditious
spooky.
conspiracy. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the reason you say that, Eric, is because once again it was not a bipartisan committee.
No, this will be the last day today.
And when Kevin McCarthy asked for Republicans to be on it, he was denied. And then a couple Republicans who had already said publicly they did not follow or agree or like the president were selected by Nancy Pelosi. It's been a joke from the get-go. And we will get into that. The other part, something I did want to bring up when we were talking about what happens with the FBI, what happens with the information that comes out that you're not told about until after something happens is very interesting, because Tabitha brought this up over the weekend as well. I don't know where you found it or how you found it, Tabitha, or somebody gave you, but I think this is one of the biggest stories that's come out in the last month, at least when it, maybe even longer than that, when it comes to information being withheld or not being told. Why did the FDA wire transfer recently $2.8 million to Pfizer?
I would like to know.
What?
Once again,
What happened there?
The FDA wire transferred $2.8 million to Pfizer. I looked at the sheet. It looks legit. Let's backtrack.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
The FDA fast-tracked Pfizer's vaccine. Okay. They fast-tracked it on emergency use. Okay. Why else would Pfizer be giving the FDA?
Well, it's the opposite of what you
2.8
said.
million
And I don't think you meant to say it that way.
Which way did I say it?
You said it the opposite way. Pfizer paid this money to the FDA.
I mean, Pfizer paid that money to the FDA.
Pfizer paid this to the FDA.
Because the FDA fast-tracked the
Correct.
vaccine
That is correct.
for Pfizer. And we
That
all
is
know the
correct.
amount of money that came through that.
Yeah.
And
How
I-
does that make you feel?
And I will post this to the cancel this page when we go to break. But yeah, think about that. It was, let me see here. I have the exact figure right here in front of me. $2,875,842 made payable to the U.S. Department of Treasury from Pfizer Pharmaceuticals.
That makes my blood boil.
Yes. It's called a payoff. That's what that is. It's
Little
called a
payola.
payoff.
Little payola.
I
little
very
payoff,
seriously doubt, once again, which is why you need to be watching our show and shows like this, because you're not going to get the information anywhere else. You're not going to have people talking about it, being fair, open, and honest, and accepting all opinions. You're not going to find this when you turn on the TV.
No.
You're just not.
And that's why we need shows like this.
And that's why the world is headed the way that it's going that way with media, and why so many people aren't watching local and world news anymore, because you're not telling them the story and the news you can actually use and know about.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I mean, if at this point the government, it seems like the government is just completely, they've just, probably 10, 15 years ago, it seems like a government would be super worried that these kind of stories would have come out.
It changed
like,
with
oh my
JFK.
God, we really got to get our PR and work the problem. Does it seem like the government just doesn't give a damn? It's like, yeah, that's about right. We paid off the FDA. Your problem is what? It seems like they are just.
I mean, does that resonate with
No,
people?
because I think that these huge stories that you just brought up, it's almost like the government goes, we can do whatever we want. Remember when Trump said I could literally shoot somebody in
Well,
in
they
Manhattan
can, Eric,
and nobody
they
would
can.
care?
They can do anything they want. Like Joe Biden himself said, if we stand up against the government, that he wanted to remind us that he has Hellfire missiles
No, you
standing behind him.
You keep fixating on that. I think Joe is just he's.
He threatened the American
Yeah.
people. We should fixate on it.
I know that sucks, but it's like with everything across the board. Title 42 ending this Wednesday. Well, guess what's going to happen? 40,000 people are going to. What adjective do you want to use, Tabitha? I'll let you pick the adjective.
Millions?
40,000 people. 40,000 people are about to blank the U.S. Go ahead. Fill in the blank.
Well,
Invade. Cross.
those are called voters. Those are called Democrat voters coming across the southern border illegally in droves. There have been as many as 1 million people crossing. 1 million.
And what is your
in a
government
day.
doing?
In one
We talked
sector.
about 10 years ago. You would have 40 PR companies trying to tell the American people this is not true. Don't believe your lying eyes. This White House, you can't even get them to answer a question. What are you going to do?
Well, of course
Joe
they don't.
Manchin is
Of course
going,
they're
what are
not
you going to
gonna
do?
answer.
You got Tassert up there in Montana going, what are you going to do? No answers. It's just 40,000
They
people.
can't give you an answer because they don't have one.
It's
Unfortunately,
Bush
right
Stadium
now-
walking across the border.
40,000 is nothing, Eric. Millions. It's millions that are coming
That's
across.
right.
40,000 might be in one little sector in
but-
an afternoon.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother
Yeah.
topic that leads in to information or disinformation, which we've been talking about, when it comes to the FBI getting involved in tweets, when it comes to the White House not giving the full story, when it comes to information being suppressed, information that affected our everyday lives, when it comes to, quote, a vaccine with Pfizer and the FDA, maybe having a deal that people didn't know about. And of course, people need to know the information.
Yeah.
Would it make you feel better or worse to know, oh, yeah, the FDA fast-tracked this and they're getting paid to maybe do it? Or why was $2.8 million sent to the FDA?
Correct.
All those things bringing in. And then, of course, on top of it, as you just brought up, Eric, we can't get information from the White House. The White House won't talk about it. But guess, as Eric said earlier, guess what the White House will talk about? The January 6th committee. That's all they want to talk about.
Yeah.
And Democrats, why? Why is that all you're focused on? Is it because it's your only, quote, trump card?
It's exactly
because
right.
we know every
Yes.
time we ask, what has Biden done that has been great? Zero. It's silence, crickets, literally. All anybody wants to talk about is a January 6th committee hearing. When it comes to the information, we're not getting information from the government. We're just not.
Yeah.
Except when it comes
Well,
to
it's
this.
because
And
we
they're
pick
getting
teams.
ready to have their, quote, final meeting. And we talked about this on our radio show.
Yeah.
This was going to be drug out as far as they could to the next election.
Yeah.
And
No,
they would
this-
continue
they're
to try
not
to find
dummies.
a way.
You know who the dummy is? It's that Kissinger guy and that Liz Cheney. They're the dummies. They're
Adam
the ones being
Kissinger
played.
and Liz Cheney,
They're the ones being played.
that most Republicans consider even
Yeah.
in a different stratosphere than rhinos.
Yeah. No, it's
Republican in name only.
Yeah, it's fascinating how they've been played. The fact of the matter is that we pick teams. It's like when you talk about the Super Bowl, the Rams versus the Patriots. The Rams fans still talk about deflated balls. They don't talk about how good the game was. They're pissed off that the Rams lost the Super Bowl, and the only reason they lost the Super Bowl is because Brady was playing with deflated balls. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you can't see the forest through whatever team you're rooting for. That's the bottom line. I'm sorry,
I
it
know.
is the bottom line. A Democrat's never going to come out and go, my party sucks because we're letting 40,000 people over the border Wednesday. My party really sucks because we can't get 8% inflation down to 2%. My party no, they're never going to say that because it's their team. You're making them take a loyalty test against their team.
It doesn't matter what they say. That's our job. We can stand up and we can go against them because what's happening with this January 6th this panel, I mean, it's ridiculous. Having the Proud Boys, their trial starts today on seditious conspiracy. Do you know seditious conspiracy is a charge that no one in this country has been charged with
I'd never
since
even
the
heard of
1800s.
it. So you posted it.
Since the 1800s. Now a couple of other members, or not members, but a couple other folks that were there on January 6th in the Capitol building have successfully been charged with seditious conspiracy. It's a really big deal. It's a lot like treason. It's an old Civil War term that this country hasn't used in forever. This is a witch hunt. It is ridiculous. We have these January 6 people, prisoners, held in solitary confinement for over a year now without due process.
Correct.
American citizens, the Proud Boys.
You are
they
pissed
did
about it,
nothing
man.
wrong.
You can-
Everyone
You are.
should be.
Look at you over there.
Everyone should be.
Well, the fact that we had the Russian collusion that took place right before it, Eric, and it was a hoax,
Exactly.
makes me go, okay, this whole thing, when it first started, I was like, this isn't about protection, especially when there's videos of guards that Democrats used as examples for their case as to the horrible things that were happening, videos of them, but you won't see them on national media opening doors. They're a fact. They're not doctored videos.
They had to open the doors. They're magnetic. They don't open. You cannot open
from
them.
the inside out.
They have to be open from the inside.
Okay.
It happened. It's a fact. Deal with it. I'm sorry. You may want to go after Trump, and that's fine. You may accept what the committee's doing. That's fine. But you also have to look at the facts, and you have to accept that your guards opened from the inside out.
And they took selfies with. No, it was so dangerous. These people were so scary, but let's stop and take selfies with them.
So those things happened. Go figure, it happened. Now, what happens today? It's the last, at least, public committee that's going to be held 1:00 Eastern time. Now, here's what it is. They're expected to vote on the final report, which is going to be released to the public on Wednesday. And you already know what it's going to be. We're going to go after charges. They're going to announce what's called a referral of multiple criminal charges, which Tabitha was talking about. But here's the thing, and there'll be charges against Trump and his Justice Department, but they're largely symbolic in nature because they don't have
What you're right.
prosecutorial powers.
It's
They don't
illegal.
have it. They don't have it. So this is all just a symbol, and the DOJ does not need a referral from Congress to go investigate.
It might be that
This is
Vic.
all for show.
No, but these people are truly going to prison. They're sentencing
No,
them
I'm
to
talking about
prison,
I'm talking about Trump and the DOJ.
and they're going to prison.
You're talking about the individual
yeah.
people.
Yes.
I'm talking about the big enchilada, Trump and the DOJ.
It's all
Nothing's
illegal.
happening to Donald Trump. Nothing's happening to the DOJ. The individuals who stormed, and they should have never done it, Tabitha. They should have never walked in. Even if somebody's, hey, come take some candy, get in my van.
I don't agree with you.
It was fine for them to run into the Capitol?
They didn't run in the door. Some of them now.
Why would you go
There
in?
were different groups of people. There were groups of people who I believe were Antifa, who were there, and they were trying to break windows, and they were.
So if somebody says jump off a bridge, are you going to go jump off the bridge?
No,
with
but
them?
once the doors were open, and then you see the guards come out and lift the barricades, and then these people felt like they had permission to go in. The majority of people that went in, they stayed on the carpet, they stayed on the line, they didn't go into these offices, they didn't go into Nancy
and
Pelosi's office.
that's why they're not being brought up on charges.
But the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers, they're just trying to make examples of them because these folks are, you know what, they're Department of Homeland Security employees. They're military, they're police officers, they're people who protect American businesses during these protests. They're going to do everything they can to come after these people because they're one of us.
Yeah, they'll charge Donald Trump, but guess what? It's going nowhere. It's going. You can charge
Exactly.
without anything. I just saw that from a Facebook comment. Of course, they're going to charge Donald Trump because they're afraid of him, and you're
That's
afraid
right.
of him, and you're afraid that he has a chance to be back in office, and that burns you. You'd rather have the horrible leadership that we have from the White House right now than to have better leadership, but quote a mean guy. Come on, bring facts to the table. Of course, we know Trump's going to be charged because that's what they do.
Yeah.
And guess what? He won't be found guilty. Zero. Bet your house. Bet your house with me. I'll bet my house. I'll bet your house.
I wouldn't do
it.
that.
It ain't happening.
Whoever's trying to bet against Vic, he wins
It's
a lot
not.
of these bets.
It's not. It's not going to happen. This is all for show, and this is what the national media does, and it's sad. And that's why nobody watches national media anymore unless they're watching Fox.
I don't trust the government. I think they will charge Trump. And
we know you don't trust the government.
And
No,
they're
that's
gonna,
sad.
They're
That
going to
is
charge
sad.
him, yes, but they won't convict him. He'll be charged, but not convicted.
they're convicting all these other folks. I'm not convinced they won't
because
convict Trump as well.
No,
I
they
understand
would have
where
to go
you're
through
saying.
a trial. They don't have the power. They don't have the prosecutorial power to go after Trump
They're prosecuting all these other folks that are going
because
to prison.
they broke laws. Trump did not storm
but
the
they're
Capitol.
saying he broke laws, though.
No, which is why they're going to charge him.
We will see.
But they will not convict him. There's no power.
We will see.
Yeah. I have a friend that's in a fairly big company. You might know of him. I'm not going to say his name, but I was talking to him, and he goes, "Oh, Eric," he goes, "you're naive." I go, "Mm-hmm. What? What is that supposed to mean?" He goes, "We're living in a situation where these guys have finally got grasps on every single piece of the power that they need." And I go, "What the hell does that mean? What do you think that means?" He goes, "The government is playing the American people right now
We're all
like a
pawns.
fiddle." Seriously.
Yes.
He goes, "Anything you see right now, anything you guys talk about on your little show in the morning," he goes, it's a shiny object." He goes, "The big power has got this thing wrapped up. There's no coming back from what we're going through right now." He says, I go, "So are you optimistic about it? Are you pessimistic? What are you?" And he goes, "I'm completely pessimistic." He goes, "This is going to be a really hard time for the next foreseeable future
It's
in
true.
the
It's gonna
world."
It's
He goes,
going to get worse
in the
before
world.
it gets better.
In the world.
And we as the United States may never recover. Our dollar, even in the Financial Times this morning, they said the dollar is going to crash.
Yeah,
it's going to happen. It's going to happen. We've been saying this for a year now, and now the Financial Times finally comes out and says it. Eric, we're heading into a very bad time in this country. And when BRICS rises to power, and that is going to happen, it's already happening. Countries are not using the U.S. dollar. We're in big trouble.
You know what? Are you? This is a question from him, not me. Are you opposed to living in a world where you choose countries like we used to choose states?
What do you mean there? Oh my! First of all, Tabitha's
No, I'm gonna-
comment was profound, and you could break out 3 different shows on what Tabitha just said.
I'm asking
in
this
a
question.
sentence and a half.
Are you ready to live in a world where you choose Europe over maybe going to.
Well, you don't want to choose Europe.
Fine, New Zealand.
Well, that's
Are you ready
Part of
to live
Europe.
in a world? Look at me. Look
Yes,
at me.
Eric. Yes.
To live in a world where you go and choose New Zealand instead of going to Albuquerque, New Mexico.
I've heard New Zealand's beautiful.
well, New
I've heard
Zealand.
it's very beautiful too.
New
Are
Zealand.
you ready
is-
to live in a world where?
It wouldn't be New Zealand.
Are you ready to live in a world where you can go live in Serbia? Because that's what they
I
want.
wouldn't go
They
to
want
Serbia.
people.
They're in a
They
war
want
right
people
now.
to basically go where they want with a world order where you vote not for United States principles but for world principles.
Well, what's
Would you
happening-
think that would be a good thing?
The world is dividing. Half of the world is going against globalism, and half of the world is
I
fighting
don't think that.
for
I
globalism.
think that's the point that my buddy was making. That no
and-
matter what you want to fight for,
But we
it
can't
doesn't
do
matter
that.
anymore. That the world has finally got its talons. Is that the right word? That's a bad word. Its talons into what they're trying to do, and it's to the point of no return, is what he's thinking.
I don't think it's to the point of no return. I think we'll need a revolution or a civil war for things to change in this country. But I do think things are changing. I think the power is changing. I think Russia, China, some of those other countries, they're going to rise up. We're going to fall down. And it's going to take us a while to recover from that. And we can't leave the United States.
So your pessimism
We're still
that
in a
I
great
hear,
country.
the pessimism I hear out of your voice, kind of confirms what he thinks as well.
I think that if we don't
You
start...
You think that there's just no shot.
No, I
No
just
shot
said
at
there
what?
is a shot.
Wait a second. We've got
No,
like
we're not.
20
We're not.
different
I'm talking to
directions
her
going
right
all
now.
over the place.
No, we're not. Here we go. There's no shot for the United States to be its own entity anymore. Be the make America great policies over. It's make the world great policies.
Not without some type of revolution, no.
Okay, so that's what I was saying. I don't think anybody has appetite for a revolution.
What's going to happen, Eric, is something bad enough. Something really bad is going to happen to make Democrats and Republicans unite. Something that we both hate so much that we come together. And we see that happening in other countries. It happened in Sri Lanka. When people were out of fuel, they were out of food, they had no power, guess what? They united and they rose up against the government. And something like that is going to happen here. Otherwise, we're going to continue to have election fraud. What's happening?
One thing you see about what you're talking about is like Iran. The people of Iran rise up. You
They're-
never see anything come of it. You
Well,
see,
you're wrong
You see
about
some
that.
video of people rioting in the streets.
You're wrong
You don't
about
see-
that.
You see things going on in Brazil right now because they think there's election fraud. Guess what? You'll see a couple burning buses, and then everybody kind of goes back home. And
I can't agree with you on that one.
Well, no, unless you can tell me an instance where
In Iran, they're over, I believe, 100 days now of protests. Multiple people, many people, hundreds of people have been murdered by the government. Those people will never stand down. They will continue to rise up until they overthrow that government.
Okay.
And the same thing might happen with
It would be
in Brazil.
fantastic if somebody, because every time we have one of these discussions, I'm always like, okay, what is really going on here? Why are you letting 40,000 people across the border? I would love for the White House to come out and go, you know what? We haven't been telling you everything.
We all would love that. But we
I know
it's not
I keep
happening.
waiting for like
That would be great.
This Pierre, whatever her name is, at the White House to go. Look, everybody sit down. I got to tell you guys something.
We keep taking it, Eric. Nothing is going to change in this country until we have finally had enough. When the people have had enough, and you're looking like those folks in Sri Lanka, people died waiting in line for 2 weeks to get gasoline.
Yeah.
And when we end up sitting in our house in the dark, in the cold, with no food on our tables, is when we'll finally stand up against this government.
We're going to put a video link. If you want to join our conversation, we'll put a video link in the stream on all of our streams, Facebook, Rumble, YouTube. We'll get that in there for you if you want to join the show. Please jump in if you have comments, or of course you can make your comments known as you do every day. The interaction is second to none on the same sites that you're watching on. And remember to like us, follow us, hit the subscription bell on the YouTube account as well. Let them know that you're here, that you want to see us, and of course, get involved in the show. We're going to have some updates regarding the kickoff party for Thursday. We're trying to see what's happening with weather. Can we take a quick break?
Yeah.
I need a coffee and I got to go to the bathroom. I've got. It's that
That's
time.
the most honest reporting that Vic has ever done.
I do.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Hey, that's
I need a potty break. Can we take a break?
I do, man.
That's
I've
the
got to
most
go.
honest reporting ever.
Also,
Can you imagine Mandy Murphy saying that?
well,
Can you guys turn the cameras off? I got to go check my face.
we need to be real, right?
That's right.
That's
Vic.
why we're better. That's why what we
That's
do is
right.
better. We'll continue the conversation. Lots to unpack there when we come back. Plus, How do you feel about drag queen shows at Ballpark Village when you're there for lunch? Ballpark Village, is that fine? Or libraries? Kirk Cameron had a victory come out.
I saw that.
At the end of the weekend, which was fascinating with library time compared to drag queens.
Now, there's a protest, don't you, this week at the
No.
factory
No.
over a Christmas drag queen show. I thought that's where you were going with
no,
this.
we got more to talk about.
What?
That's even better. Tabitha, I love it. If there's something else you want to jump in and talk about, let us know. Of course.
Tabitha's in a mood today, boy. I'm
This is
telling you.
cancel
I'm
this.
fed up, Eric. That's where my mood is.
Okay.
Fed up.
When's the first Tabitha
CancelThisShow.com.
I'll be there. Come on, Tab. Bring the high heat.
Well, she's a revolutionary.
I know. She keeps forgetting her little black beret.
I'm just waiting for the people to line up behind me and let's get this started.
Man, that is Tabitha. Government, if you're
It
listening to this
sounds cool.
show, that was not Eric Johnson. That was Tabitha Hassel.
It's CancelThisShow.com. You can check out all of our podcasts that we've put there. And, of course, we're doing it live till 10 a.m. Don't go anywhere. We're back with more right after this. It's Happy Monday. Get you ready to rock and roll. We're going to take you to the top of the hour. Of course, we're live, but of course, you can go right back and check out our podcast on all the platforms. Go to canceltheshow.com. You can check out where we are, figuring out everything that's going on, starting our 4th week here. Thank you so much for the interaction, all the show views, the interaction, the reach. I was checking with our marketing guy, Alex, from Raising Sales. He's like, Vic, this is really good. I mean, really good. So what we've got going on is developing. It's growing. We're evolving every day. Lots more still to come as well. So thanks for jumping in. Of course, we had a lot of people jumping in on the party. They were supposed to do the kickoff party Thursday. I got a feeling Tabitha doesn't want to do it because it's going to be cold, right?
I'm fine with the cold.
I'm messing with you.
Yeah, no, I have
the
4-wheel
snow.
drive. I'll be fine. I'm worried about the folks who can't come in.
Yeah, the
That's
snow,
all.
Okay.
that situation. I'm afraid to put it out to a vote for the public like Elon, but
No, because our listeners are hardcore, man.
hell yes they are.
Seriously, it's that you guys.
Tabitha raised her eyebrows on that.
You guys put a poll out, say, do you want to still get together at Wenty's with 10 inches of snow on the ground? And everybody go, yeah, I'm no pussy. They'd vote yes.
You're going to get us blue line.
Who cares? I was talking about a cat.
Exactly.
Like a horseshoe calico.
Because they meow.
Yeah, horseshoe
And it's
calico cat
soft.
with 6 toes.
And
That's what I
it's
was
soft.
talking about.
My concern is if the weather is that bad, and we don't know yet. It's too early to
And
tell.
bad meaning cold.
Meaning, well, no, the cold. I mean, the cold
No, this
should
is
be
about
left
whether
to-
it should happen, whether it was
Scotty,
cold or not.
help me over here,
The
brother.
cold should be. We don't know on Thursday how cold it's going to be
Yeah,
yet.
correct.
We know on Saturday
This is
we're
easy.
going to have these really cold wind chills. My concern is we want to maximize the night out.
Okay,
we want
here
as
we
many
go.
people to come as
Why don't
we
we do
can.
this?
And we don't want to be responsible if somebody
Let's
has an
do
accident
this.
or gets
Let's
stuck
do
in the
this.
bad weather.
Let's do this.
How would you have an accident in cold weather?
Well, Thursday it's supposed to snow on
No,
Thursday.
okay, no, that's the second part. If it does.
Okay.
Correct.
If it's cold, I don't get canceling. If there's snow,
I agree with
absolutely.
you.
Okay,
I
here we
completely
go.
agree with
Here
you.
we go. Listen to this. On Thursday, it's Thursday, right? Correct?
Thursday,
Thursday's
the 22nd. That's
22nd.
correct.
Okay.
7 p.m.
7 p.m. Let's all check in at noon on Thursday, and we will make a game time decision at noon on Thursday.
like it.
How's that sound? Because we could cancel the thing right now and get a 1 inch of snow with 37-degree temperatures.
I agree.
And then we would screw everything up. So let's just, at noon on Thursday, everybody check back here on Cancel This, and we will let you know.
Yeah, I'm with you, Vic. Cold, make your own decision if you want to get out in the cold. Snow, dangerous roadways, that's a different story.
They are getting together a blue cancel this shot, by the way. So there's some ideas, some ingredients that are being kicked around. We'll get ready for that. We appreciate you jumping in.
Yeah.
If you can join us, great. If not, so be it. We'll see. We'll make that call. I like the call, Eric.
Yeah.
Getting back to some of
Like
our
football
topics.
games.
Yeah, you go through that.
Oh, and can I throw something in there before we move on?
Yes,
Sure.
jump
We,
in.
Absolutely.
if you head to our Facebook page, we have the actual event on an invite in Facebook and the invites for Cancel This Show. And you can go on there and if you choose you're interested or if you choose that you're going, it will update you when we make changes.
How about that? That's awesome.
And of
If I can
course,
get that right.
on Facebook, subscribe to us, follow, share the show. That's helping us. Also with YouTube, even if you're not making it your primary watching source, go over there, like us, click the bell for subscription. It helps us get out there even more. If you like what we're doing, share the show, be a part of what we're doing. Yes, we're growing, but we want to grow exponentially. We want to grow quick, and we want to do this national. The more people that find out about us and hear about us, the more people are liking. Oh, I didn't know. Somebody shared it. Somebody told me. I came across this. We're going to be doing some marketing issues as well for the topics in the news that we try to bring you. With that being said, we teased this as we were going to break, and I find it fascinating. A few weeks ago, a guy who I know, never met, messaged me, said he was at Ballpark Village, and I love Ballpark Village, and I love the job those guys do there. General manager is a friend of mine. He said, Vic, I have an issue. I don't think I'm going to be going back to Ballpark Village, and I think this is a topic. He said, I was there having brunch with my daughter, and it was a drag queen show, and I was not ready to have the discussion with my child at a brunch on a Sunday morning at Ballpark Village when we were trying to enjoy all that's great at Ballpark Village. Could you at least talk about this? Am I alone, or do other families feel that should not be there on a Sunday morning for brunch? So that's the first part of the story. The second part of the story, because this all encompasses everything, former actor Kirk Cameron, he's become very popular for promoting a lot of his Christian values and ideals. Some people like it, some people don't. He was not allowed to have a story time hour of his own reading in a public library, but drag queens were allowed. He threatened to sue. He won, and now he gets the same time to have his hours as the drag queens did as well. Now, Tabitha brought up a third part to the mix of something that's going on this week as well.
That is correct. The Factory right here in Chesterfield Valley, an entertainment venue.
Great place.
Yeah, they're going to have a drag show. It's called, let's see here. I know there's the name for it here. So they're going to have a protest on Wednesday. It's a couple groups coming together. The Missouri Precinct Project, MOPP, headed by Judy Sofka and Brenda Webb from the Truly Trump team. So Wednesday, December 21st, 6:30 p.m., they are planning a peaceful protest at the Factory here in Chesterfield Valley to protest the Drag Queen Christmas show, which is scheduled for that evening from 8 to 12 p.m.
What's the problem?
Now, here's
I
the
don't
thing.
see a problem
What's
yet.
the problem?
I want to see.
I'm waiting for the. I'm
but
waiting for
we
the
talk
payoff.
about all the issues.
And this is as much as I know about what's going on there. Now, here's my take on a drag show.
Okay.
I think they're rather entertaining.
Okay.
I could care less about a drag show. I have no desire to shut down a drag show unless they're promoting it for children. In the deal at Ballpark Village, they should not have had the venue open for children if they were having a drag show. That's my opinion. I think a drag show for adults, nothing wrong with that. You're an adult. You can choose what you want to do. But when it comes to children, and I don't know if the Factory is promoting this drag show for children, I don't know if they allow children in, and that's the big determining factor for me.
I was looking at a headline for the show, and I don't see anything about kids.
Yeah.
If they allow children in, then no. I am 100% against it.
What if parents bring their kids?
Yeah.
That, I mean, you know what? That's a parent's decision. But I don't agree with it.
And a kid, I guess, is under 18?
I would think anyone under 17.
So the Factory here in St. Louis, it's not a bar. It's more of a theater. It's more of it's a venue where you go to see showcase type things.
Exactly.
Not where you go to see a band do 3 sets a night and drink some whiskey. That's not really what that place is about.
And what I'm showing,
it's different.
Yeah, because what I'm showing, people are commenting, Eric, online. I don't know if you can see these comments. It's an all ages show. It's being advertised as family friendly.
Okay.
Children under 12 years old can attend with an adult. And that I don't agree with.
Do your due diligence, man. You know what I'm saying?
I have no problem with this.
Here's where this is where I'm not a Republican, or here's where I'm not with you guys. I think that first of all, if you want to be a transgender, whatever it is, and
Transgender person.
and you're a 48-year-old man who wants to dress up like RuPaul and put on a show at a theater, why in the hell would I stand in your way to do that? That's what you want to do.
Well, it's about teaching children.
No.
If children think this is okay, I personally don't agree with bringing a child to a drag show.
fine,
I don't.
fine.
But
that's
my
cool.
personal opinion.
Here's where I differ with you a little bit. If you're a parent and you want to bring your kid somewhere that's a ticketed event, it's a lot different than having a conversation of having your kid go mandatorily to a Parkway Central or to a Pattonville. I think you can do your due diligence as a parent and say, I'm going to put together $30 per ticket so that my kid can participate and see this stuff. That's just an entertainment value. So I don't see where the big uproar is on this thing. I think that we live in a world now in this time where homosexuality, LGBTQ, RuPaul is accepted. You watch Ellen DeGeneres, you watch all these daytime shows. It's filled with this type of an audience.
Yes, and look what's
And so
happening.
I
I don't agree with any of this. None of it.
You don't
I know
agree with
you
what?
don't, but it's
What's
okay.
what Eric is saying.
Okay, well, why not?
Not against Eric.
No, I get it, but
because
why not?
To some degree, I don't. Here's the thing. I have no issue with gay people. Everyone knows that. I talk about it all the time. I
Then
have
why do you have
family
an
members
issue
that are gay.
with the show they want to put on?
Because I don't think that children should be exposed to all of this. I just don't.
I
don't-
agree with you, but
I
you're
don't
not
think-
every parent on the planet.
I understand that, and it's up to each individual parent. I don't think it should be allowed up to be up to these parents. I don't think they should promote a drag show for children. I really don't, because I think it's part of this big liberal progressive movement.
It is.
To normalize a child being able to choose what sex they are.
I agree.
I don't believe that a child should be given the option. Well, you may have been born with male genitals, but you're not really a male.
I haven't
you
had a
can
chance.
choose.
I haven't had a chance to
Jump
speak
in
on this
there.
yet.
Go
I would
ahead.
like to right
You
now.
must.
Go ahead, man.
Okay. People and companies and private companies have a right to do whatever they want. We talk about everybody having their voice. Yes, you may not agree with a company offering this to happen, but everything starts in the house. It starts with parents. It's the parents' right now, whether they want to take these kids or not. If you don't like companies producing this kind of entertainment and kids being allowed to come, they can't just walk in the doors. They have to go with parents. Parents, as with everything, are the last line of defense. It starts there, it ends there. It's up to the parents. So, do I have a problem with the factory doing this? No. You don't have to go there. And that's why the protest. Do I have a problem with the protest? Absolutely not. No, I don't have a problem. But guess what? Everybody gets their say, and then people make the choice at the end. And guess what? Nobody's forcing parents to take kids.
Right.
They're not. And if you're very concerned about this, pray for those parents. Pray for those kids if that's something that you think is so bad. And who's to say that the kids are going to get into it? I do know that some kids feel as if they're in that situation. They're already identifying in that sort of manner, and the parents are trying to do their best with their kids. At the end of the day, it's all about the parents. It's all about the parents.
Yep.
It's all about the parents. And guess what? It's all about the protest. That doesn't mean, I saw a comment, and I'm glad you would ask that. No, Eric and I would not have our kids in strip clubs on a serious note.
No.
Eric's never had his kids in a strip club. I would never have my kids in a strip club.
Would you bring your children
and
to a
I
bar?
Would not, and I would not take my kids to a drag show right now. That doesn't mean I'm against them. It's not what I want to take my kids to.
But would you take your kid to a bar?
Yes.
Would you take him to Diamond Music Hall?
Yes.
Now, see, I would not.
What?
I wouldn't. I don't want. My son has never been around alcohol
How
growing
old?
up.
Like how old? That's a whole other issue when it comes to.
Because to me, as a parent, there are choices you make. And when my son was growing up, I did not want him to be around alcohol. To this day, I've never had alcohol in my house. I don't.
What
I
if
never
your kid's a
exposed-
musician? What if your kid's a musician, wants to jam on open mic night?
Well, if that's a whole different story.
Is it?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, I would think that's a different. If,
What if
if your
they-
child's a
what
musician
if
and
they
that's
wanna-
the only opportunity they have to play,
What if they want to go play pool? What if they want to go play pool?
no, kids shouldn't be in a bar
No,
playing
hell
pool.
no. Don't want to play pool.
Well, what about bar grills, Tabitha? Because there's some places that you and I like that are bar grills.
There
You
we go.
take people to restaurants to eat, and there's bars.
I think if you take them there
There's alcohol
before
there.
10 p.m., before 8 p.m., that's fine. If it's more food than alcohol,
Yeah.
then that's fine. But, the same as this drag show, if it were a burlesque show where it was straight women or straight men dancing, I wouldn't find that acceptable for children either. It's not about the gay thing. It's just not an acceptable venue for children.
I'm not trying to make fun of it.
Yes.
Glenn from the comment line said, I took my 11-year-old to see PRL at Frontier Park, baby.
Yeah, that's not
Glenn,
good.
we're
That's
going to
not
have
a
to
good
talk.
idea.
No, I'm kidding.
That's not a good idea either. It's not. I'm not even
That's
playing.
pretty funny.
I'm not even playing. But
It's an adult show, PRL. Is
Well,
an adult
okay.
But we're also told by Jill, and I appreciate it, Jill. Jill says she's going to send a video clip of the show to Tabitha, Vic, and Eric. You need to see this before you can even speak
Exactly.
to. Okay, I get it. I don't care if they're dancing naked. Once again, it's a private company. It's up to the parents. Parents have to teach their children everything.
True.
Most kids go to public schools. They don't go to private schools. So you have to teach your kids before they go to the public schools as well. It's a whole nother topic. It's always up to the parents. Up to the parents, up to the parents. Parents get to decide unless it's deemed by law that they're doing something illegal or hurting their kids. And then you need to talk to your state legislators to make the laws that you want to happen in your said areas.
exactly. And I think what makes me not identify with you so much as far as the Republican stuff goes is there is a social side of a lot of Republicans. There's a lot of people that say, I am tired of the government getting involved in my business, whether it's taxes, whether it's this border, not securing our border, not making the family, the country a big military strength, not looking at what's coming. I mean, there's a lot of issues where I'm like, the Democrats suck balls, okay? But there's also a lot of people like myself that look at social issues and just go, this just isn't a problem for me. You
mean the parents should have the right to do what they want to do?
I think people not parents, but people, individuals should be able to wake up in the morning and do whatever makes them feel happy because life is short. And if you're going to have a call, if you're the director of this show that's going into the factory and they say, yeah, we can't do this. This is a little too weird for our community. Well, how does that make you feel as an entertainer at that point? You can't go and do your art?
I don't care that the factory has a drag show. I've been to Hamburger Mary's. I've seen plenty of drag shows. I actually find them very entertaining, but I'm an adult.
Okay, let's get one thing. Let's get one thing straight. Let's get one thing straight. This is a bunch of probably middle-aged men who are dressing up with wigs on in dresses, coming out and doing a show that's not nude. This is not a strip club. Whoever keeps
we don't know. We haven't seen the video.
I'm sure that the factory's not going to let full frontal nudity come on.
Some drag shows can have some degree of nudity. I don't know that this one does, but some do.
I think that would have to be on the ticket somewhere.
Some can be very burlesque-like.
Rated R, rated PG, whatever it is. I think this is probably a bunch of drag queens.
And we don't know, Eric. We have no idea who these people are. Or what they're doing. Or, I'm going to assume they're all good people. I have no reason to assume otherwise.
Yeah.
But the fact is they're promoting this event for children. It's all ages. It's a Christmas show.
No, they're not.
I don't
is not
agree with
Ice-capades. They're not doing commercials.
How do you know? You didn't even know it was happening until I just
You're
brought
right.
it up.
That's right. They're not even
So you
marketing
don't
it
know.
as far as I know.
No, so you don't know.
Well,
I'll tell you what.
We're going to
If
look
the-
at that video in just a few
I'll tell you
minutes.
what,
we are.
I'm
Okay,
calling on
I've
I'm calling on the factory. I'm calling on the factory to give me a free media pass so I can go watch this show. And then I'll comment on it. You're right. I have no idea what I'm talking about right now. But I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be PTs or Diamond Cabaret at the factory whenever they put this show on.
I am actually looking up the factory webpage right now.
Look up the page. I'm taking care of the video right now with Scott, so we'll give you a chance to show it. to show you.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, guys, let's be real. When does it become a situation where it's so bad if parents are the final choice? This isn't a public school where the school is telling you have to do this. This isn't a situation where, parents were told your kids have to be vaccinated or they can't come to school.
Right.
Your kids have to wear a mask or they can't come to school. Their factory isn't saying you have to come see this. This factory isn't saying your kids need to come to this. It's your parents. There's all things all across this country where parents have the privilege and the right to make good decisions. Some may think this is a bad decision by parents if they take their kids. Some say it may be the best thing they can do if their kids feel like this is the entertainment they want to see or learn about before making decisions.
Well, it does state on the website, please note there will be adult content and language at this event.
Yeah, that's great.
Ooh.
They put it in.
In Seattle, I know I always bring up Seattle, but they have the naked bike ride in Fremont, Seattle every single year. And the streets are lined with little kids watching the naked bicyclist. I think that we're living in the Midwest is very, very sensitive to this kind of stuff. It just is. And this is regionally different from place to place. Los Angeles, California, it's not really a big deal. I also am agreeing that we need to protect the kids. That's not what I'm saying. But man, look at the battles that you're trying. You need to protect your kids from what is being put into their mind at the public schools. We'll start there. But art on a big stage in Chesterfield, Missouri, I don't think that's going to do much damage to a kid at all, to be honest with you.
Well,
I really don't.
That's another topic.
And
I think
that's
you're entitled to your
I think their
opinion.
iPad's going to do way more damage to them than a damn
another subject.
show that they're putting on at the
another
factory.
subject.
There's a lot of things that affect children. I am all for parental rights, but at the same time, there's a lot of parents out there who make really bad decisions. And at some point, there is a point where parental rights need to be moderated.
Well, Kevin in our comment line says that St. Louis does a naked bike ride also.
Yes,
Really?
they do.
Who
You
knew?
know, if
Who
they
knew?
do a naked bike ride and kids are around.
Brought to you
I
by-
believe I have this up from Facebook, the video.
Okay, so it
it's
won't be
shared on the
sound.
screen.
I
All right.
see it.
Yeah, just play it. We'll let people know. We've been told that this is video of what the show is. So
I'm hoping. Here, let me go to full screen.
we also
Can I ask you a question?
No, hold on.
we're also being told from the comment line this is a non-topic. Parents can choose or not choose to take their
Exactly.
kids. The Midwest is very closed-minded about. Now I disagree with John on the Midwest is closed-minded.
It is closed-minded. No, I agree.
Yeah,
I've
but
been
just
everywhere,
because,
and
just
I'm telling
because somebody may be it's called closed-minded. They have also seen the assumption that means they're conservative, and then you go down that slippery slope. So you have to be careful.
I'm singing the art way
when you go there.
Yeah, when it comes to art, when it comes to the art, the art community.
So
yes.
I know the arguments that are made from a liberal side when it comes to quote closed-minded, because when you have somebody that tries to be very articulate and somebody who tries to open you up to that, well, yeah, I'm closed-minded. Well, then would you consider this and consider that? Yeah, the Midwest doesn't do as much, isn't as open and liberal. Let's call it liberal, not closed-minded, liberal as the West and East Coast. And who's to say it's a bad thing? But at the end of the day, it's parents who decide.
How about Europe? When you go to Europe and they're basically walking around on beaches completely nude, and they don't think a damn thing about it.
They do that at the Lake of the Ozarks.
Yeah, but those are only in special corridors at the Lake of the Ozarks. I'm talking about when you go to Europe, it is full frontal, full everything.
Did you find the video, Scott?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah,
so if I hit play, I'm trying to figure out the technology here because
this is
first
an
video
example of what we're told would be at the factory that is open to kids if parents want to take them.
Fantastic.
All right,
Can I ask you a question? Do you find this to be age appropriate for your children?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little more, I'm not as conservative, but I mean, really, it's not any different than, I mean, Disney, they have similar things. Like, it's really not that far from
That's true.
Sex with my father's boss.
Oh my
My
God.
father's office.
Very, honestly, like, I'm body positive.
Minty fresh.
Do you find this to be age appropriate for children?
Do I find this to be
Yeah.
age appropriate?
Yeah.
For my child, yeah.
Hello, you're reaching for my titties. Are you hungry?
Do you mind me asking how old she is?
She's 12.
12.
She knows about sex, and I mean, she doesn't see sex.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she kind of sees simulated sex in the show.
She goes to school. She sees simulated sex all the time.
You know
You
what I'm
don't think
saying?
it's exposing sex to them too young?
Honestly, because there's like, this is a little bit more forward, but there's innuendo and all that kind of stuff in Disney. I mean, Shrek, I mean, talking about, are you compensating for something?
She's right.
There's a lot of things that they don't necessarily get. I mean, it is sexualized, but like, it is what it is. I just think it's the stigma around it that's, which they don't care. I've raised them not to care.
The stigma around what?
Around, different sexualities. It's just, and that's not any different than, straight people.
Another big riot.
So you don't worry that this is like ruining her innocence or anything?
No. She needs to know what's appropriate and know when to say no consent and what's appropriate and what's not. And how will she know that if she doesn't see it in a safe way?
So this show will show her what's appropriate and what's not, you think?
No, not this show, but we will teach her over time. She's fine. She'll be fine.
All right, we show you what this show would be like that they're going to have at the factory. My opinion has not changed. If parents want to take their kids to that, that's up to them. And if you don't want parents to take kids to that and you think that's horrible for them, then you talk to your lawmakers where they're not allowed to do things like that. And guess what? If you don't like it, as Tabitha said, go protest. When is it?
Wednesday at the factory. Go out and protest.
It's going to be
Wednesday,
cold AF.
6:30
But you're
p.m.
all out
It's a
there and do what
racy-
you're going to do.
It's a
This is
racy gay
disgusting.
show.
What's happening
I know
here
you
is
think, then
disgusting.
don't go.
Well, obviously, I'm not going to go. I don't think parents should be allowed to take children. I don't think the venue should be allowed to show this to children because you know what? While I agree parents do obviously have rights over your children, not when it comes to abuse.
It's not abusive.
Yes, it is.
It's art in a lot
I
of
like
sense.
we
It's
all
art.
three have
It's
different
not art.
opinions
It's
on this.
art.
Scotty, what do you think?
All three of us are different. And before Scotty gives it, here's the thing. I have no problem with the factory doing this for adults who want to go. Under the current laws, I have no problem with what's going on. Do I think the content is disgusting, as Tabitha said? Absolutely. But everybody has a right. It's America. It's free.
See-
if you want to go, go. If you don't, don't.
Child abuse.
That's where you have to. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Scott.
I was just going to say I wouldn't bring my kids to that.
No,
Neither
neither would I.
None of us would take our kids to that.
That's not the question, though.
It's whether
What's
the
the
factory
question?
has a.
The question is what is the threshold? Here's the threshold coming up. This is a racy, transgendered burlesque show that is exposing kids to stuff they kind of already see
It's not
already.
for kids.
It's not for kids, but
No.
but
that
there's a
wasn't
lot of
even about questioning who you
there's
are.
not a lot
That
of
was a
18 and up.
That was
there's
a sex show.
There's a lot of liberal parents out there that want to expose. It's an art. Now, let's get crazy. Let's say that they were having simulated sex, and this is going to
They
sound
were. We
disgusting.
just
Hold
saw
on.
it.
Yeah, they
Let's
were.
say they were having simulated sex with minors, with other kids, pedophilia. Now we're talking something a little bit different. We're
That's-
living in an era.
would be illegal.
I see where
Well,
you're
you're
going
trying
with
to
this.
you're
'cause
trying to illegalize it. I mean, it's not illegal.
No, Eric,
it's an art. No,
you
I
cannot
disagree with
You
that.
cannot take a child to a strip club. It's against the law.
That's not a strip club.
I understand that, but what they're doing
Scotty,
is
can-
just as bad as
Yeah.
or worse
You-
than
you
what
have
you
to
see
figure-
at strip
it's,
clubs.
again, you gotta-
It should be
there-
illegal.
there's-
They shouldn't be allowed to put this show on for children.
You wanna
It should be
cancel-
against the
This
law.
is no different though than seeing a couple on a normal TV show
Exactly.
having sex in a
Will
bed. They may
Will
be
and
under the
Grace.
covers,
Scotty,
but
can you run that video again without the sound? Is that possible, or is the whole clip there? And if it's, it'd just be good if. And I know I'm throwing you under the bus right
Yeah,
now.
don't-
If-
no, I just
Let's
want
not
to pat
break the
ourselves
show.
on the back that it actually worked the
Yeah,
first time.
exactly.
But Scotty, to your point, parents should
Don't
also
worry about it,
monitor
then.
what their children are watching
And
at home.
guess what? You can
that's
fix
part
the
of
problem.
parenting. Part of parenting, and that's why these parents are fighting so hard against these school districts.
So you just
to
want
keep
it
these
not to
books
be
out of
available.
school.
No,
I
you just
think
went to a
that-
different topic. You went to a
well,
different
it's all
topic.
the same. It's
No,
all
it's not.
Yes, it is.
Nope.
It's all the same. It's all protecting your
Nope.
child from explicit material they shouldn't be seeing. Whether
Platinum
it's at
Rock
home on your
Legends
TV
would
or
never
at
do a
venue.
show at an elementary school. Platinum Rock Legends would never bring the funnel in to an elementary school. It would not be appropriate. Big difference. If this drag show, if Tabitha Hassel came and said, there is a drag show coming to Parkway Central Middle School and it's happening next Wednesday, I would be the first one there with a flag saying ban transgender shows at the
It's not about
I would be the
transgender.
first one.
It's not about transgender. It has nothing to do with. I
Whatever.
already said that. Whether they're straight, gay, none of that matters. What matters? This is explicit sexual
So
content.
I'm
Shouldn't be seen by
I'm going to
children.
agree with
It
you.
should be
If
that's
illegal.
explicit.
I have
this-
the video back up.
if
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is in the
and this
if-
is what we're showing. This is a show that's coming to the factory Wednesday night. Promoted
I don't
as
mean to get mad about
kid-friendly.
this. I don't
Yeah.
mean to get mad
You're
about
not getting
this.
mad.
But I am getting I don't want things
You wanna fight
canceled
over it?
anymore. No, I'm tired. I'm
Want to
tired.
step outside?
Yeah, annual Naughty Brook.
No, but Eric just brought
I'm
brought
tired
it
of all
up.
the canceling of everything just because you don't
Some
like
things need to be canceled.
it. Well, they start
Like
with the
child grooming,
I'll tell you
which is what
No,
this
wait, this
is.
doesn't need to be canceled. I just think it should be
should be
regulated to a
adult
point
only.
where, like 18 maybe.
Exactly. I'm with you on that.
That's your own
Scotty.
choice then at that point.
I-
You're not
You-
being
then you have-
exposed to that.
I agree.
If you don't want
completely.
your kids exposed to this, and then the factory show is the last thing you need to worry about.
And another issue that's been brought up is the fact that even if you choose not to take your kids to a show like this, which is up to the parents whether you agree or disagree, we were also reminded don't be foolish enough to not think that your kids are already being shown this material on all the social media platforms and or by their friends who may be being allowed to see material like this or judge it. And let's be real, kids are curious. And now you have at your fingertips all kinds of things, which is why parents, your job is tougher now than it ever was. Just like it's tougher to be a kid right now than it ever has been. Guess what? It's tougher for parents as well because you have to keep tracks on your kids. And even if you do keep a track on your kids and you take care of all the issues you think you can find, the boy next door, the boy down the street, or the girl next door, the girl down the next street is going to be showing your kids stuff. You have to have the conversations earlier than you've ever wanted to have them before. Welcome to American society.
What about the rock show Ghosts? Ever heard of the rock band Ghosts?
No.
It basically promotes Satanism, pretty much for the most part. Is it cool for your kids to go see that rock concert?
Absolutely not.
No, okay, but they play at every major arena
But
around the
let's
country.
not forget, as a parent, I'm a parent.
Yeah.
Now my child is older now, and he's an adult and can do what he wants.
But you're not going to go protest the
When-
rock show Ghosts that
when-
promotes Satanism, correct?
I don't know. Maybe I'm not big on protest, but maybe.
Well, you
But
like the protests going on at the factory?
me as a parent. I controlled what my son did and what he saw. If he had a cell phone, I knew what was on his cell phone. If he was on social media, I knew what was on his social media. And that's called parenting. Just because kids have access to a cell phone or because they have access to a TV or have access to a computer, you as the parent, you have to take control of that. Because I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of kids in this country. I write a crime blog who are missing, dead, and sexually trafficked because their parents are not watching their social media.
That's true.
They don't know who their kids are talking to.
Oh no, the parents are
It's
doing a
your
horrible job in this
as
country.
a parent to protect
There's
your
no
children.
doubt about it, and I feel sorry for them. Trust me.
Thank you.
If you're a parent. If you're a parent and you got a kid from 2 years old all the way up to 10 or whatever, I feel totally sorry for you. You're literally handing these kids a computer, an iPad, an iPhone,
It's a job.
and you're saying, I got to be over here and work during the day, or I have to be over here and clean the kitchen. And I don't feel sorry for this. Yeah, you're a parent. Don't take your kid to see this show.
If you can't
That's
be a
fine.
parent, don't have kids. How about that?
I couldn't imagine being at that show at 12 years old.
No way.
Going back to
No.
thinking when I was 12 and then seeing that. That's a reason
there
we have kitty
anything-
litter boxes in high schools.
Exactly.
Even 15
That's
I mean,
right,
that
Scotty.
Even
you know what I mean?
15
You're
or
exposing
16.
them to something that
It's true.
is like you're making, oh, well, that's acceptable. Yeah, in theater.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
some kind of production, but not, you don't
Yeah.
walk around in life like
Yeah.
that.
I remember when I grew up, we had D. Snyder was going to get canceled because of how rebellious and how he used to say cuss
Well,
words.
things
and
get
He wore
amplified
makeup.
from generation to generation. Somebody always has to push the envelope. I mean, just look at Madonna in the 80s.
yes,
Somebody always has
great.
to try to. Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
You know, there's all
Elvis.
kinds. Yeah, for hit in the 50s. Yes.
But I kind of stand with Eric. I don't see a problem in the show.
No.
I do see a problem in bringing kids at a certain age to that show.
So-
But I agree with that part
We
too.
all agree with
So
that.
Platinum
show's
Rock
fine.
Legends,
Adults, yes.
Platinum Rock Legends. When you play here, and Scotty will probably, well, I don't know. When we play at Lake of the Ozarks, it is a rated X show.
Oh, yeah.
It's off the hook. It is debauchery. There's a lot of alcohol, and it's crazy. We have been booked from venues around the country that said, we saw you at the Lake of the Ozarks. Do you have a PG-13 version of your show? And we have to scale back a lot of stuff. Okay. So
I didn't think your show is X.
oh my God.
Well, I have curse
I would've
words
thought
in
of
our
it.
song.
I've
Oh
seen
my
your
God.
show recently.
Well, yeah, but there was a mishap maybe once or
There's all
twice.
kinds of wardrobe malfunctions
Yes.
at the Lake of the Ozarks.
I have something when you're done, Eric, to talk to you guys about. We have some updated information here.
Okay.
And I want to know if this changes your mind. And this is Chesterfield law. Because, Chesterfield.
Yeah, go for it,
this is
Tab.
good stuff, Tabitha.
They have their own laws. Here we are. Chesterfield has a law, section 210.1700, public display of obscene material or an obscene performance, right here in Chesterfield. Definition. For the purpose of this chapter, the following definitions shall apply unless the content clearly indicates or requires a different meaning. Harmful to minors. These are things that are outlawed in the city of Chesterfield, Missouri. Harmful to minors. The quality of any description or representation in whatever form of nudity, sexual content, or sexual excitement when it contains A, predominantly appeals to the prurient, I don't even know what that word means, shameful or morbid interest of minors in sex. B, it is patently offensive to contemporary standards in the adult community as a whole with respect to what is suitable sexual material for minors. C, taken as a whole, accepting a cover which shall stand alone, lack serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. So does that mean that this drag show is illegal in the city of Chesterfield to show to minors?
But it's
Call
not.
them.
Is it considered public because you pay for admission? It's not public.
It's not public.
You're not sitting out in the street. You're not on a sidewalk. You're not. It's a paid admission. They're
exactly
paying
what I
for
was
the
thinking.
access to the show.
It's private.
Scotty
And you're
was
right,
a-
it is private. And this clearly states public
Yeah.
display of obscene
All right,
material.
so we don't. That's fine. That's fine. So here's what it is. So good for Chesterfield in a public manner. Many other cities have those same ordinances in place.
Yes, they do.
Not just Chesterfield.
Yeah. The Doors got
So anyway,
arrested all kinds
that's all right.
of
So we go
for
back
that
to.
stuff.
That's all right. We go back to where we were.
I
with
don't know,
it.
man.
It's
Art
fine.
is art. Art is art. Art is art.
Yeah, and it is a
Sorry.
private venue. I know somebody posted a public, but it's not public. It is a private venue. And some of these tickets are $150 a ticket. It's not a cheap
And there's
event.
a lot of parents out there that feel exactly the opposite of us. They would look at us like, oh my God, you Puritans are killing
We
me.
just heard them.
I know. You Puritans are killing me. I want my kids exposed to this so they have a leg up on the
But
competition.
there's two things going on there. One, if a child identifies as that manner and wants to see or talk to somebody, but the problem is the sexual content that was there. That I don't care who you are as a kid.
Yeah. Let's be honest. If there's no one in this room that would send their 2-year-old to 12-year-old to this show, I'm just not. I'm sorry. It would be like, Mom, I want to go see whatever the name of this show is, and you would be like, not just no, but hell no. Next question.
Well,
but there are parents out there,
There are.
especially in Ladue and Chesterfield and these liberal Clayton. There is a lot of liberal people in this area that are not opposed to this.
When do you draw
Sorry.
the line of what a parent can and can't do? What is their right to do?
It's
It's not okay for a
another good
parent
point.
to have drugs around a child, right? That's illegal. What if your child ingests a drug? You can't leave guns sitting open on the table. There's a lot of things that parents do that they feel they have the right to do.
I think it's a new
that
topic.
endangers the child.
It's a new topic when it comes to the whole sex situation.
Yes.
Exposing
Yeah.
it's a gray area. There is no doubt. As Todd told us on the Facebook line as well, it's another interesting topic that we talk about. A private business can be held liable if they're committing illegal acts inside.
Yeah.
What is illegal? What's on the books is a law. And it goes right down to that. To me, it's black and white when it comes to that. Now, it's gray when you're trying to decide what's the law.
Okay, let's take a vote. Should we cancel the factory? Everybody raise their hand. I vote we don't cancel the factory.
No, you don't cancel the
I
factory.
vote we don't. You guys
No.
No, again, we've all said the show is fine. It's just the
Cancel.
the age.
Should we cancel the parents?
Appropriate
I'm
material.
all about canceling parents if they're
Should we
taking
cancel the
12-year-old
parents?
kids to that show where it's all about sex and it's not about talking about issues that they may feel inside.
Okay.
That's promoting sex.
We need to make flyers right now, and every parent that brings a 12-year-old, we need to hand it to them. Say you've been canceled.
Give them a cancel
Tabitha,
this Bumble sticker.
Are you going to join the protest Wednesday night?
I have to work, so I will not be at the protest.
It's gonna be too damn cold.
That's a good point.
That's what I said.
The cold wins.
But for the folks out there who feel very strongly about this, you can go to the factory on Wednesday, the 21st at 6:30 p.m.
Oh, boy.
for a peaceful protest. The show begins at, I think it was 8 p.m., 8 to midnight.
Bring your fire barrel.
Dang, that's a long show.
And it's on Wednesday night.
Wednesday evening, 6:30 p.m.
Okay. Back to politics.
That is politics.
Yeah.
That is politics.
That was a very interesting conversation. That was a very. I'm surprised that there weren't more people just going, you know what, art is art. If you don't like it,
I know now we know Eric's
cares?
okay with child grooming. I'm kidding, Eric. The look on his face just now was priceless. I hope everyone
them
saw
there's
that.
fighting words.
I'm teasing, Eric. You are a
No,
fantastic
but we tried
parent.
to attack issues like this on Cancel This. Go to canceltheshow.com. If you're just joining us and you didn't have a chance to hear the entire conversation, go check out our site, canceltheshow.com. We're saving our content. We're trying to put those topics, those kinds of things out there. I mean, once again, a show, I don't know if it was similar to this, was taking place at Ballpark Village recently when a guy contacted me and said he won't be going back to Ballpark Village for a Sunday brunch because this was happening in public at a brunch where people are walking in not knowing it was there, unless you see maybe a sign and you walk in and he's with his young daughter who is, I believe, under 12 years old.
And they should have had a sign informing parents what is taking place inside.
Okay. Well, let's call the management up next week and we'll figure out what to do because we are in charge of St. Louis.
That's right. We're making the rules now.
Yeah, Todd says, I'm guessing Madonna has done crazy things at concerts before.
You don't even know the half of it.
100%.
You don't even know the half of it.
Other artists as well,
And that's something.
men and women.
Madonna's
that's
not
what-
taking a backseat to a bunch of cross-dressing men. That is
That's
not
what
going to happen.
parenting is about. If you know your child's going to a concert, guess what you do? You look up that concert and you see what type of material is going to take place. And then you make the decision whether or not your
You know
child
what's going to
can go.
happen? Check this out. Let's say we ban kids from going to these things, okay? And let's say, okay, fine, whatever. They're not allowed. You know what's going to happen? These things are going to become prevalent, prominent events. These shows, especially if it sells out and does good. over the next 20 years, those kids where the parents would go to these things, they're going to be like, yeah, I was exposed to this a long time ago. This is not a big deal. We were not exposed to Elvis Presley shaking his hips. The parents
Right.
were absolutely disgusted and
That's
mortified and how dare they do this crap. Guess what? We look back at Elvis Presley right now and we're all like, what's the big deal? There's more movement in a Old Navy commercial. So the thing is it's the perception of what you see is offensive to you. What's offensive to these kids 20 years from now will be totally different than what's offensive to us
You're
right
right.
this minute.
Things are very different.
And is that a good thing or not?
It's
It's
not
bad.
It depends
That
what
seems kind of scary when
Well-
you're talking about.
How about this, Vic? How about there's and this up in Seattle, they really do want to be able to marry their goats. They want to have animal weddings. They want to be able to marry anything that's inanimate up there. Are you okay with that? Is it okay that you, as a 45-year-old man, can marry your pet goat? Question.
That's terrifying, is what that
Yeah,
is.
it could
Okay,
be.
what's the
And
threshold?
that's called mental illness.
What's the threshold?
Yeah,
Will
yeah,
100
it's a
years
good
from now?
question.
This is
will
why I always say when you let something slide,
That's right.
Will the threshold be 100
then
years from
everything
now?
is allowed.
Yeah, 100 years from now, you can bring your pet, not your pet, your husband horse.
Jason says what's next is anarchy.
I'm with Jason.
And well, Jeffrey says Seattle sucks.
Let's start the anarchy ourselves. But Eric, you make such a great point, and and that's why I don't want children to go to these shows, because it desensitizes them, and we're moving the bar.
How
Yep.
far can
And
you
we're
He
hold?
says
allowing
embrace
this to happen.
Traditionality.
How far can you hold the dam in when you know there's so many cracks?
You have to try. You just have to keep trying. Too many people have
It's
given
a
up.
lot of putty.
And that's why we're in the
It is.
situation we're
It
in
is.
right now.
100%. It's a societal issue.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. Then you look, there's, and people can say whatever, but you look at the sex crimes that are happening to kids all across this country
Yeah.
now, more than they've ever had before.
Yeah.
And then you look at what we've allowed and what happens. It's scary.
You can look at food as an analogy to compared to what you're talking about right now. There's this word that I always use in my mind. It's called wholesome. Back in the 1920s and 1910s, people ate wholesome food. Real corn, real green beans, real meat, no preservatives,
No
blah, blah, blah.
corn syrup.
And and you didn't have obese people. You didn't have diabetes. Cancers were not what they are right now.
And people
move
walked.
ahead, progress forward. Now people eat food, and and look at this, the same scenario. You're adding more unwholesomeness into your community. Okay, the more unwholesome your community is, the more mental illness you're going to have, the more breakups you're going to have, the more dead communities you're going to have, the more it just becomes more dead.
And why did that happen, Eric?
So people did move back to whole foods and that kind of stuff because they found out that the foods were killing them. There's going to have to be something really bad that happens to society for them to move back into a Christian-based world or a religious-based world.
And it's not
that's
even
history. That's
Right.
societal history.
And it's not even about
Yeah, but
necessarily
have we ever
religion.
gone back into? Have we ever gone so? Well, I guess the Roman Empire was a good example of that, where their society just went off the rails, and then they came back and became more of a Christian society, right? So I guess there is one.
I'm with that, but there's I know parents who are atheists who are good parents and would never take their children to a show like
That's
this.
a different thing. That just means I simply don't believe in God. It doesn't mean they're not moral.
It
It's
is-
just like
that's exactly
I can't
right.
I can't wrap my mind
that's-
around a God that rules the universe. But
they're
I want my
still
kids
good
to have.
parents.
Yeah, exactly.
This is interesting. Jeff said the first scripted cuss word ever on television, 1999. Mark Harmon said, "S hit happens in Chicago Hope," and look
what-
at where we
yep,
are now.
That's what I was just going to say. That's how the slippery slope works.
It's called desensitizing people.
And that's-
Please understand that your brain is a computer. There's no difference between your
is.
brain and a Pentium 7, okay? There's no difference between an Intel chip in your brain. What you put into your brain is what you're going to get out of your brain, period.
And kids can go anywhere on streaming services and pick up a lot of stuff.
And
Hell,
that's even
the
worse.
F word was used on
Yeah.
Yellowstone just in their latest streaming.
Yeah, that's right. If your brain,
I mean-
if you put into your kid's head virtual reality, I'm not taking a position one way or another. I'm just letting you know the facts. If you put on 3D goggles on your kid and you let him play Call of Duty all day long, he's going to be a really good soldier. He's going to think of a gun, a weapon, as something that is usable. His brain will be desensitized to killing people. I'm just saying that's the truth.
Well, Eric, you're right, but you're almost saying the same thing that I was saying earlier that you didn't agree with. Look at the bigger picture here. What this is about, these drag shows, whether it's a burlesque show, a strip show, it doesn't matter, all the sexual content, it is all about desensitizing children to this to sex. Because there is a movement, whether we want to admit it or not, on the very, very far left, where they want children to be sexualized at a very young age because they want to normalize the relationships between an adult and a child, the sexual relationship between an adult
and, you know what?
and a child. It's disgusting.
You know what?
And this is part of that.
So here's the deal. This is my call out right now. We are old people. We should be walking out of here with canes. There's no doubt about it. I need to go get me some turmeric because all my joints hurt from this weekend. But I think we need to get some younger Gen Zs, not even liberal Gen Zs. We need to get some Gen Zs on to talk.
Get them. We've been waiting.
I will.
I don't know any.
Okay, some Gen Zs that go, I kind of, and I guarantee you, a lot of them will say, I kind of agree with you, but yeah, this isn't so bad. Because their generation, it's like Elvis.
Their generation,
it's like Elvis.
Eric, their generation, they're having litter boxes in schools and wearing kitty ears and meowing to their teachers.
Allegedly,
well, we tried to find that. We
schools.
couldn't find it. Remember? We did.
Allegedly having them in schools.
Well, even if allegedly in St. Louis schools, for sure in other schools across the country. It is happening. That's where kids are today. And it's because we have this slippery slope and we say, oh, it's okay for parents to do this.
Great question.
It's not okay.
What generation is Gen Z? Here's what I understand. I think Gen Z started in 2000 and maybe 2002, somewhere in there. Maybe a little bit younger than that, maybe a little bit older than that. So they're real young, man. They have been exposed to a lot. I think, if you're in Gen Z, you didn't see 9/11. There's a lot of weird stuff and it just those weird facts that they have seen kind of the growing community of this LGBTQ thing. And that's important to them because that's their friends.
It's like it's called mid 1990s, mid to late 1990s to 2010.
Okay. So they're young.
So you've got about a 15-year age group at most, 13 to 15-year Gen Z.
Yeah.
So
what's the younger group than that? I'm not good at knowing.
No,
millennials are. The millennials are older.
Oh, that's right.
Millennials
Alpha.
are
Isn't
older.
it Generation Alpha?
I don't know.
You said it was Alpha, but I did not know that.
Yeah,
we
it's
need
like
the
Generation
youngest
Alpha.
generation. I don't know what they're called.
Yeah. And the reason why this is important and you want to take time to talk about this stuff is because these are voters. These are the ones that are going to be voting on
Scary,
these things.
isn't it?
These are the ones that will be either making your laws for you or not making your laws for you.
And carrying on the cycle of raising children who keep going down the deep dive on this slippery slope.
Yeah.
Jill says there's a significant group of society that believes the sexual content should be around 12.
That's insane.
What?
No, there's a push right now with the Democrats to make the legal voting age 16.
Well, yeah, that is a fact.
That your brain isn't even developed enough to understand what you're voting for. It's just not. I'm sorry. You should not be voting unless you understand the issues very well. You should understand what the implications are of
Jill says consent.
For what?
Yeah, the age of consent is 12.
For
Sexual
where?
consent.
Sexual consent.
Where?
In America. No, that she's saying there are a significant amount of American parents and people who believe the age for consent, sexually speaking, should be 12.
What?
Well, there are still states in our country that allow children to be married to adults, believe it or not. We still have a lot of very strange laws in our country.
Yeah.
And it's our job individually, despite the law, to make sure we are good parents and raise our children the way they should be raised.
Yeah, and that's one thing that's one thing that you got to understand. And that might be the downfall of this new world government, is that there's a lot of places in the world, Vic, where all this liberal stuff, this social liberal stuff, could be the downfall of getting a one world banking system, a one world currency, a one world union, or whatever they want to call it. You're going to have a lot of places to go. You want us to have 12-year-olds be able to consent to what? Yeah, we're pulling out of this deal. So, I mean, there might be a saving grace.
You know what's not happening in Russia? They're not having drag shows for 12-year-olds.
No, you're right.
That's not happening in China either.
That's
No,
right.
You're right.
It's not.
You're right.
It's happening in Europe and the United States.
Or Iran or Qatar.
You're right.
Well, but they have Muslim laws where they married
they marry
children.
young. They marry young.
Just, man, why couldn't the United States just say strong? What were you guys thinking? What were you guys thinking bringing this garbage into our militaries? What were you guys thinking pushing this down? I don't have a problem with this stuff. I just don't want it pushed down society's throat. That's really where my problem is.
Look at what we have now.
I mean, when you bring this stuff into a library, I'm out. Stop it. Nope. I think that the library should be, again,
But you felt that way too, as we associate it with mask, vaccines,
wholesome. Everything that you do, everything you do in your life.
Forced on you.
Look at the Title IX restrictions in this country. Think about that. Right here in the United States, right here in the state of Missouri, we're dealing with this, where schools have to have co-ed bathrooms, co-ed locker rooms. They have to allow boys to participate in girls' sports. And if they don't do it, they lose their Title IX funding.
It's sad.
Think about that.
It's sad, but do you agree with me that every generation has the opportunity to invent the society that they want? Do you agree with that?
And guess what? That
Terrifying.
goes with what John just said. He's all those countries we were mentioning, and he's 100% right. They have a lot of government control. But so many people in this country don't want government control. They want people to go do what they want to do. Yeah. And then that lends itself to that.
It's true.
It's fascinating. What a great way to end today's podcast. We love everybody joining us. We appreciate it. Tomorrow we're going to talk with LaJoy. We've got LaJoy on for LaJoy's Coffee. Eric, she grew up, African-American woman. She grew up poverty-stricken, believes there's systemic racism, but also says that doesn't mean you should use it as an excuse for not being able to succeed. She's become an incredible businesswoman, has her business in St. Louis. Well, it's in North St. Louis County, and she's kicking ass.
Good for her.
And she's going to join us on the show, so it's your chance to jump in. Tabitha's chance to jump in and find out some issues that are going on there. We're also going to be talking with a gentleman, former Navy SEAL, who works in sex trafficking this week as well. We may have him tomorrow. He'll set the record straight on a lot of issues, some of the things that came up today. And of course, St. Louis being a transit system, as sick as it sounds, for sex trafficking.
Yes.
All across the country because of where we are. The highways right in the middle of the country.
Drugs, sex trafficking, we've got it all
We
here.
start making money somehow. I take it back. That was a joke.
Yeah, that was
horrible.
not funny.
That was not funny.
Anyway, thank you for joining Cancel the Show. Go to canceltheshow.com. Scotty Gherkin got it working on the boards. Eric Johnson, Tabitha Hassel. I'm Vic Faust. Once again, go hit the bell, the subscribe and the bell, on YouTube. Subscribe to us. Share the show. Let people know what we're doing. Like us. Like us if you like what we're doing. Share the show. We appreciate it. Have an awesome day. We'll let you know about the party. It's still set for Thursday night at 7 p.m. at Winty's. For those in the St. Louis area, we'd love to see you. Lots of people already say they're interested and or coming. If it snows a ton, we're not going to do the party. We'll make another day. If it's cold, I think right now we're still going to have it. And we'll
I'm in for cold, but if the car starts fishtailing, I'm out.
I think that would be all of us. Hey guys, thanks have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.